And if somebody stops him, guess what? He's going to accept defeat too. He's going to be like, you defeated me. Good for you. I'll stop.
Yeah, I mean, I can at least admit that he has some legitimacy in what he's doing. He's not like pure evil in like a lot of the villains that we normally come across in like, Marvel series or whatever, where they just want to destroy stuff. They want to see stuff burn and that's it.
For example,
I mean, at least this guy, he has, yeah, like at least Thanos, he has a reason for what he's doing. Like this, I mean, like I said, it's pretty extreme. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna disregard that.
Yes.
But like I said, he has some legitimacy, but it's still bad. But I could sympathize more for what he's trying to do versus, like you said, a character like Red Skull or whatever who just wanted to see stuff burn.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of got that sense too when he was trying to like justify himself to Tony Stark, saying like, look, this is Titan, this is my home planet. It wasn't like this. It was a peaceful place and stuff. And he's like, but then it got out of control and people just made it this way. Kind of thing. Like he's trying to say like, look, if I let people run wild, it's like a fire. It's going to destroy itself. So I need to combat fire with fire kind of thing. So in a sense, I can see it both ways. He's a bad guy, but he's kind of demented. So he thinks that his way is the right way. And we see this in a lot of people who are psychopaths and stuff like that. So I'm not justifying that Thanos is a good guy. I'm just saying like maybe he had in his mind that he was the good guy and everybody else was the bad guys,
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
With that, let's talk about Stan Lee's cameo. To me, every time I see Stan Lee's cameo, I have to rank it. Is this an awesome cameo, or is this just a normal cameo, or like what the hell was this? How do you feel about this cameo?
The way I look at Stan Lee's cameo now when he appears in a Marvel movie is I'm pretty nonchalant about it. It's like whatever, unless he takes on a particular role or whatever that's very out of his character. Like, for example, I forget in which Marvel movie, but he was Hugh Hefner. And so that took me by surprise, right?
I think it's Iron Man 1.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Iron Man. Yeah, but things like that where I'm just like, wow, okay, I didn't expect that. But I think in this one, he was just a school bus driver, right?
Yes. And his line was, what, you never seen a spaceship? To me, this cameo was below par. One of the ones that stands out the most for me, personally, I think it's also because of the theories behind it, is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where he plays a Watcher. And he's, among other Watchers, and telling him, dressed as an astronaut, telling them, yeah, I played a postman and this and that, talking about his actual cameos in the movies. To me, that links to one of the theories that's running online that says that Stan Lee is a Watcher. That's why he plays different roles. People who don't know what a Watcher is basically this supreme being who basically takes care of the universe to overwatch that everything is going as it should be. And if something is going misaligned, they step in and fix it. To me, that's what allured me to that scene. Like, wow, look, it's this mythical being that referencing from the comic book. It's the Watcher. Now Stan Lee's there. Could Stan Lee be one of the Watchers? And all his cameos are just his personas in different times. So for me, that's one of those things. But this one's just a bus driver, and I'm like, okay. And other lines have been wittier than this, and this line kind of didn't make sense to me, So it kind of fell below what I normally expected from the cameos.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, I guess we can't really expect too much from Stan Lee, that is, given his condition at the moment. So, yes. I mean, it's kind of understandable too, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's limited in his mobility and stuff. Yeah, but I mean, I think for him to say a couple of lines that carry more oomph, if you want to say it, or more comic book reference, he could say them. It doesn't necessarily mean that he has to be active in the scene. He can just reference some stuff, like the way in Iron Man, he's just walking down some stairs, being held up by the two lovely models and playing the Hugh Hefner role. He didn't even say anything in that cameo. He just showed up, kind of thing. Another cameo that I was glad not to see was Howard the Duck. Because, oh my God, we know how Marvel wants to shove that duck down our throats. He's been in 2 of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and he's always being referenced. And I'm like, oh God. You did a movie once. It didn't hold out. Just let it go. Let it go, Marvel. We don't need to see that duck anymore.
You can't let it go because they're in partnership with Disney.
Yeah. Okay, let's just talk about the last thing, the ending credit. What do you think? How was it? Was it played perfectly? Did you get the reference right away, or did you know about it, or did you expect it? You know, when Nick Fury was coming out.
Well, yeah. I mean, it didn't really blow me away, but I mean, I like. But what really what really got to me was more of, again, the aftermath of what was that that Thanos left behind when he activated the stones. That was more of an impact to me in that credit scene, or after the credit scene. And then just seeing what was revealed, what was it, like a beeper or something?
Yes, it was a pager.
The insignia of that was pretty much Captain Marvel, right?
Yes.
So I mean, like I said, it didn't really take me by surprise. It wasn't like a big oomph to me, but it was like, okay, I guess I know what's gonna be next year coming up soon.
To me, it's
like next year, I suppose.
I knew the movie's coming out. I knew they were gonna do something to, a prelude to what's coming, or foreshadowing. But what really brought it home was that, in my mind, the theory that I have, that Doctor Strange foresaw the timeline that they were going to succeed, and for it to happen, it needed to be Tony Stark and Captain Marvel. Because if they wouldn't have gotten the stone and he wouldn't have snapped his finger, it wouldn't have led to Nick Fury reaching for the pager. So if they would have stopped Thanos from getting the last time stone and then going to Wakanda and snapping his finger, half of the population disintegrating, Nick Fury would have never reached for the backseat and grabbed the pager and paged Captain Marvel. So to me, it was a validation of like, oh my God, what I'm thinking is kind of might be true. And I got really excited because of that. That's how I saw it. Another thing I want to bring up, if you want to follow me, what's the character from Game of Thrones who appears in this movie, who's really small, but in this movie he has a huge role, or technically a big size role?
Yeah, so Peter Dinklage, who plays Tyrion in Game of Thrones, of course plays many other roles in other movies and series too. Very good actor, and I love him too.
Oh my God, he's great.
But he made an appearance here. He plays what's the name? The name of the character?
He's one of the last dwarves that actually this is it's a planet where Thor's hammer and all his weapons get forged, because it's a dwarf sun that they use to heat the metal and forge weapons. So Thor goes there and he's thinking he's gonna see a giant sun glowing, and then he gets there and it's like shut down forge basically. And he gets on there, and out of nowhere we see Peter Dinklage coming out. He's the last dwarf to be alive on this planet.
Yeah, and so he was put to the task by Thor after getting some motivation from him to create a new weapon for him, and it turned out to be this axe, in which they called or it's known as the Stormbreaker. And but to me, like, what I found pretty humorous about this was when Thor was put to the task. Well, he put himself to the task of keeping this particular door or whatever open, so that the source of energy that was gonna penetrate through it to heat up the metal or the material in order to create the weapon. It was the line that the character Peter Dinklage played that I heard him say, "Hold the door," which, of course, to any Game of Thrones fans out there, is playing homage to that because of an infamous saying from that particular series too. And I did a 180 because I like I said, I thought I was hearing things, and I turned to my friend who I was watching the film with, and I asked him, "Did he really say that?" And he said, "Yeah, I think he did." So I just enjoyed that part. Like I said, the scene was pretty serious too, right? Because they needed this weapon so that Thor could stand a chance against Thanos. But just hearing him say those words, it brought a huge smile to my face, because I don't know, as much as I like Peter Dinklage and the various roles that he has played throughout his career, to me, Tyrion will always be the character in my heart in terms of what he has played and how impactful of a presence he can be with a character like that. And so I'm always thinking Game of Thrones whenever I see him, and for them to come up with that line. And like I said, I could be wrong, but I swore I heard that line. Because it just made too much sense.
Yes.
It made too much sense.
Yes. Okay, now going back to the weapon. It's a hybrid of an axe and a hammer. And the fun fact here, if you will, is that this weapon is not originally Thor's weapon. It was made by Odin to give to... Let's see, remember in Thor Ragnarok when they pan to the tower that has the faces of the champions that were the gladiators, and we see the Hulk face, but right below it we see another famous person there,
which is Beta Bill Ray.
It's basically the counterpart of Thor. He's another Thor character. He has the same power as Thor, but he's like from another planet. Odin makes him the weapon that Peter Dinklage made in the movie. This is very important because people who saw that image from Thor Ragnarok and saw that character, we know that he exists in the universe, in the Marvel universe, and we know that this weapon belongs to him. So when you see that and you know about it, you're like, oh my god, they're referencing him, but it's just paying a little homage to his character. So I thought that was kind of cool. People caught that and some other people didn't. Just for them to do that, it was really nice. I felt really good about it. Just the same way you felt when you heard the line, hold the door.
Yeah.
It's nice. I like it. I like how they sneak things in there. The same way, okay, now that we're almost going to end this, most of the issues from the actual Infinity Gauntlet series, which is a 5-comic series made back in the 80s, there's some scenes in there that made it into the movie. Shot by shot, but maybe not the same characters. So, for example, at the beginning, when the Hulk crashes through Doctor Strange's sanctum, that scene is in the comic book, but it's not Hulk who crashes through the ceiling. It's Silver Surfer. But we know Silver Surfer is not a character that Marvel has the rights to as of right now. He belongs to another studio. So that scene kind of, for me, it was like, look, they're basically telling the other studio, we can do this without even the characters that you have that we need. We can use a Hulk. We have the Hulk. So stuff like that, I mean, it made sense, especially in the battle with Thanos on Titan. Doctor Strange uses 2 moves or 2 spells to try to defeat Thanos. One is the ribbon that he ties him up with. That's also in the comic book. The same thing for the spell where he multiplies himself. That's also in the comic book. So stuff like that, it was shot scene for scene. And basically, to me, it was kind of a little nod to the creators of the comic, saying thank you, sirs, for what you did. And now we're going to take that and extrapolate from there. So that was kind of nice watching that, and for me to see it and be like, oh, look, they're not putting it out there, but you see little nods here and there. So to me, it was kind of a nice thing for them to do. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned to me too that they also paid homage when Thanos turned Mantis and Drax into those weird shapes, right?
Yes. When he used the Reality Stone on Mantis and Drax, he made Mantis look like a ribbon, or like a 2-dimensional piece of paper, and Drax he made him into cubes, so he fell apart. That was also in the comic, so that was it wasn't done to those 2 characters specifically in the comic, but they don't have the characters from the comic in the movie, so they kind of had to use what they had available. So that was another scene that came from the comic book. So to me, that was just like, oh wow, they actually know what the source are, or where this story is coming from. But like you said, they can't just basically copy the same story. They have to go and rewrite or make a new story, because what's the point of just having a comic book made into a movie if you can just go and read the comics, right? So in that sense, I liked what they did with the movie. I mean, I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, overall I liked it, other than some pacing issues, because I mean, it's understandable with so many characters in the film that you try to distribute as much time as to for each of them, or at least the main ones, so that they get to make the type of impact that they normally would if they had their own spin-off movies or whatever. But other than that, I loved the film, and for what happened at the end too, I didn't see that happening in terms of the scale, because we are talking about a Marvel movie that is in partnership with Disney. And just thinking about Disney, you sometimes think whether or not they will actually push the boundary sometimes. But for them to actually go as far as they did, it really surprised me. And I actually appreciated the film that much more because of it. Because of that, and along with some of the other stuff that we mentioned already in this podcast, I think I would give this film a rating of a 9 at the minimum. But maybe it will require maybe another watch or two later down the road, and maybe I will feel even that much more excited about maybe the upcoming film, or maybe see stuff that I didn't see before as well. But yeah, right now I think I'm going to give it a rating of a 9.
For me, I'm going to go with an 8.5 to 9. I'm leaning more to 8.5, but I would bump it up to a 9 if I re-see it and watch more Easter eggs or more references to the comic books and stuff like that, or more like funny one-liners from the characters. But I mean, as just watching it one time, I'm giving it an 8.5 to 9. So this wraps up our review for Avengers Infinity War. Join us next time when we review Deadpool 2, The Second Coming. Social media is in the description, and hit us up if you have any questions. And remember, keep watching movies.